policy slaying and promoting slay in general for like the betterment of the community.
So, can you please tell us your name, pronouns, degree, and then your year of study?
Alright, so I'm Sargun Saluja. I would like to firstly acknowledge that I'm on Gadigal country, and I would like to pay my respects to the elders of the past, present, and emerging. And so my pronouns are she and her, and my degree is I'm doing the Bachelor of Law and the Bachelor of Science. It's a combined degree, and I'm majoring in law and marine science.
Can you tell us your campaign colour and your slogan?
So my campaign slogan is "It's a Sargun Slay," and my campaign color is hot pink.
And who is your campaign manager?
My campaign manager is Rose Donnelly and Henry Collier.
And what's your favorite USU outlet?
I think the beauty. I think it's the courtyard. There's just like a communal space, and it's nice. The setting's nice. So yeah, I like the place.
The gold piano.
Yeah, it's got the good piano.
So, how would you describe your politics?
So I believe that I'm a left-wing candidate, and I'm a unionist, and I believe in supporting the voices of the marginalized community. Since I am a person of color and an international student, I would be focusing on amplifying the voices of the community that I belong to, because I believe I could provide a better perspective for them. And yeah, that's my politics.
Are there any factions that you're a part of, either present or former?
I'm aligned with the NLS.
Are you a member of NLS?
Yes.
Do you intend to continue as an active member of NLS as a USU board director if directed? And will you take advice from NLS on USU board decisions?
I would, since I am a representative of the USU board, I would be representing my own culture and like the international community. I do believe it would be my perspective as well as the NLS. There would be components of the NLS in there, of course, like socialism and unionism and the left-wing candidacy itself. But I would also have my own perspective and would value it more.
More clearly, will NLS bind your decisions on board?
No, they would.
So, what inspired you to run for the USU?
So, firstly, yes, I'm an international student, and I believe that I'm also a first-year student, and a lot of the board members of the USU are older students who have, perhaps third year or fourth year, who have already experienced university life, as well as who are almost ending their degrees. As a more younger student, as an 18-year-old, I would be able to provide more perspective onto more youth affairs, on what first years feel like, and what the first year perspectives are. As well as an international student, I know that there's like a bit of a culture shock when you come into uni, and there is isolation, because you're supposed to know all of these things about USU in Australia as soon as you come in, and that allows you to integrate into the community better. If you're not as aware, then you can't be as integrated into the community, into Stupol and a lot of other things. And I wanted to really bridge in the gap with that, as well as it's a post-COVID era, and I feel like there is a bigger gap in that because of the 2 years that the USU lost because of COVID.
There are 10 other candidates running this year. What do you think makes your campaign different from the others?
I believe my campaign is different from the others, first of all, because I'm a first-year student, and I would be representing the first-year perspective. I would have more knowledge and more recent knowledge about what it's like to just come into uni, and what are struggles that I faced in integration into uni life. So I would provide a better perspective on that. As well as the international student candidacy and the person of color perspective. I am also a member of the NLS, who's an international, and I feel like a lot of people who are factional aren't international and don't provide both emerging perspective of both sides. Yeah.
So, what role do you think politics plays on the USU board?
I believe for politics in the USU board, there are policies that would be left wing or right wing, catering to certain aspects. If you look, if for the USU board, there is in general factions from different sides coming into the USU board, but and there would be there are right wing candidates and left wing candidates, and I believe that I would give the left wing perspective a better shot, and I think depending on the policies in the USU board, there would yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I think you just need to better phrase my answer. Just so in the USU board has politics in regards of the left wing and right wing candidacy, and the left wing candidacy would promote marginalized voices, and I believe I would be a part of that, and that's what I think USU board and board politics is. Yeah.
Do you think the USU should take these activist stances on university decisions?
I believe there should be a sense of activism in the USU because it is present for the welfare of students and to protect students from discrimination and harassment. So yes, there should be a sense of activism if it comes to the protection of students, but it should also be pragmatic at times.
Do you think that the USU board currently hinders the student community in any way? How successful do you think they have been?
I believe that the USU is present for the welfare of students, of course, and there might be some things that I would encourage them to do better, such as I guess last year they promoted DoorDash, and I would encourage away from organizations that would have unsafe business practices or economic precarity.
Okay. So in an article by Kantran, who is an Honi reporter and editor, they outlined that like if 100 volunteers per welcome week were paid by the organization, it would only cost the USU $15,000, which is like 1.2% of their surplus in 2021. Would you endorse a motion for the USU to start paying its student volunteers for their time and work?
Yes, I would. I do believe that the USU has a budget that covers student volunteers, especially in terms of the food hub. I believe that there should be paid volunteers. Yes.
Yeah. And how would you like to get that like thing started, considering that like NLS is one of like the main factions that does work for the food hub? So how would you vet in like those two settings and see that this activity gets done?
I feel like yes, since the NLS is one of the factions that works for the food hub, and including my campaign manager, Rose, who actively is present there throughout, that I would lobby for paid volunteers for open day events and food hub, which would in turn help better like a more flexible timing for like overworked students in food hub who are present there throughout, and more awareness about the food hub as well, because I feel like there is less awareness on the existence of the food hub for multiple students, so that they could come in and perhaps be paid volunteers.
Yeah. So you also said that you want to invest in a community garden in like the same tangent as continuing the food hub. What sort of societies will you collaborate with, considering that there are like quite a few like groups of students and maybe staff who already have like a use in like community garden? So how will you create a better relationship with them, with like the USU board?
I think there should be more community gardens in general at USID, so I would be lobbying for more community gardens, and in terms of the staff that is already there in the community gardens, I would obviously be connecting with them to look at the produce that we could possibly have for Food Hub and all the other places.
Yeah. And a lot of other candidates also talked about like accessible counseling service and international like student workshops. Do you have any like specific sort of workshops that you think international students would do better with?
Yes, I believe there would be two that could help international students. One is a mentoring workshop hosted by older international students for younger international students that would help them integrate into uni life. I believe that a lot of events that the USU has are in the initial stages of when you start, in the initial stage of the semester, and a lot of people don't come in at that time because of visa restrictions and various other reasons, and so they miss out on these opportunities. So I would like to spread out the workshops that are already available that were at the time, and have more events catered to integration in the USIT community so that the international students don't fall through the gaps. And in another one that I would like to focus on is employment services and employment counseling services for international students, so that there's better communication with regards to exploitation, as well as how to start making sufficient income in another country when you don't know anything about it.
Yeah. And you also say that you want to help students learn about the Australian workplace laws. Considering that SRC already has a service in place with caseworkers, how will you say work in collaboration with the SRC, or maybe add something new to that help already?
I would like to bring awareness to the fact that the SRC has these services, as well as work in collaboration with the SRC to make these services more accessible and promote them further so that more students can apply to them, because at the moment I do not believe that as many students are aware of these services and how to work through them.
Do you think that clubs and societies are currently well supported by the USU?
I believe that there is a disparity in communication, especially since the clubs and societies, because of the 2 years in COVID, have just started in person events, and the community is alive all of a sudden, that there is a communication line of communication needed with the clubs, because I believe that at the moment perhaps clubs look at the USU as more of an enemy than not, and in terms of funding and a lot of things, they believe that it's harder. The USU makes a lot of processes harder than they need to be, and I want to open a form of communication with clubs and societies that makes along with the transparency, implementing transparency, so that it's easier for them to have more participation of students in general. I also think this adds to international student welfare and student welfare in general, because because of the sudden everything just being going back to in person. There are like students who were probably started in the COVID era and are like weren't integrated at that time and don't know how to get into it and how to get into clubs and societies anymore, that need help getting into clubs and societies. And clubs and societies of course want more members, and I want to like bridge that gap as well.
Like, how would you like to summarize to the students why should they vote for you?
I think I would like to summarize to the students that vote for me for my policies for international student welfare, for ethical promotion, for service provisions, and for ethical investment. And vote for me because it's a Sargun Slayer.
Yeah, all good. And do you have any other like comments or questions that you would like to ask us before we end?
Oh no, thank you.
All good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.